Kirby and the Forgotten Land is not only my favorite Kirby game by far, but also just one of my favorite games in general. For being the Pink Puffball's first real 3D game, the transition went flawlessly. The level design is fantastic, the controls are great, and of course, the copy abilities and brand new mouthful modes are incredible as well. Now, I've been wanting to do a video on this game for a while, but last time I did, that video flopped hard. So I thought it'd be smart to do a video on it, and a game that doesn't usually kill my channel, Smash Ultimate. Spirits are the main collectibles in Smash Ultimate, and they're used to represent characters that couldn't quite make it onto the roster. They did this by creating a battle using Smash's existing roster of characters, items, stages, and conditions to closely represent how the Spirit character is in their home series. So in this installment of the Making Spirit series, I thought it'd be fun to create a Spirit for every copy ability in every mouthful mode seen in Kirby and the Forgotten Land. There are 12 copy abilities and 14 mouthful modes in the game, which gives us 26 spirits to make. However, since this game does have a lower amount of total copy abilities when compared to previous Kirby games, all of them can be upgraded to gain new abilities. When adding on all of these upgrades, we have a clean 50 spirits to make today. Keep in mind that I'll try to get my footage as close as possible to what I'm saying, though there are a few conditions I can't recreate, so use your imaginations. But with that said, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, especially if you want more Kirby-centric videos, and let's jump right into our first spirit. Now, normally when making these videos, there are at least a few spirits that are already in the game that I don't need to make, but this is our first spirits video based on a series in Smash where none of what we're covering has spirits. Sure, some of the enemies that give you the ability have spirits, but the abilities themselves do not have any. With that said, our first ability is one brand new to Forgotten Land, the Ranger. He'll be represented by K-Roll, as his neutral special is definitely the closest looking weapon to the one used in this ability. For that reason, neutral special will of course be K-Roll's preferred move. I decided to make it a pink K-Roll as to match Kirby's color scheme. Now, the hardest part of this video in particular was deciding the stage for most of these. Most copy abilities appear throughout the entirety of the game and thus don't really have a specific theme to look for in terms of a stage. So a majority of these are just going to take place on a random Kirby stage, and that's no different for this as I'm putting it on green greens. The blocks can be shot by the gun, that's my reasoning for this stage pick. The difficulties for these spirits though were all really easy since the copy abilities have up to 4 different stages, the same amount of difficulty stages for spirits. So this would be a novice or 1-star spirit. The Noble Ranger allows Mario. The Noble Ranger allows Kirby to dual wield, so I wanted to go with the character in Smash that also does that, so Bayonetta was definitely the best choice. Yeah, she doesn't look much like the ability, but for this video in particular, I really wanted to focus primarily on the ability each gains. She would use her yellow costume and would prefer using neutral special, which is the best move to show off the dual wielding guns. The stage would be green greens and this would be an advanced or 2-star spirit. The final upgrade for this ability is the Space Ranger. I decided to go with Dark Samus, who prefers using neutral special for this battle. I also thought them spawning with the ray gun makes sense as visually it looks somewhat similar to the one Kirby uses with this ability. Now since this is based on space, I decided to make this stage have low gravity. Fountain of Dreams was also my pick for the stage as it's the most spacey Kirby stage. Additionally, I decided to give it an electric floor as his ability's primary function is stunning enemies with electricity. This would be an ace or 3-star spirit. Hammer was probably the easiest ability to come up with for the entire video, since this is one of the few moves Kirby actually uses himself in Smash. So this would be a default Kirby who prefers using side special. I generally wanted to avoid using Kirby for this video, but I mean, come on, this was the only logical choice. The stage is Dreamland because the only items would be the hammer and golden hammer for obvious reasons, and this would be a novice. The toy hammer would be represented by a light blue Isabelle. She uses a toy hammer in her jab, and it's also very quick just like this ability, making her a perfect fit. Since that would be her preferred move though, I might make this a stamina battle, that way she actually has a chance to kill you with it. The stage and items are the same as the last one, and it'd be an advanced spirit. The wild hammer is meant to be strong and slow, so I think female Byleth fits pretty well here. Yeah, I know her down moves are supposed to be an axe or something, but they could definitely fit as a hammer. Byleth would prefer using her down special, down smash, and down air during the fight. Otherwise, the stage and items are once again the same as the last one, and this would be an ace spirit. Our next one here is a minor spoiler. I wouldn't normally care about giving a spoiler warning because it's your fault for clicking on a video about this game if you don't want to be spoiled, but yeah, this next ability is a minor spoiler for Forgotten Land. With that out of the way, the masked hammer is meant to represent King Dedede's boss fight, meaning King Dedede is a super obvious choice here. Since he already uses a hammer for most moves, there won't be any one in particular that he needs to spam. An interesting thing about this ability though is the fact that Kirby actually dual wields hammers here. Because of that, I decided to let King Dedede spawn in with the hammer, which gives me an excuse to show off his fantastic hammer animation as he actually uses both the hammer and his at the same time. I also decided to suddenly give King Dedede his final smash to represent the masked part of this copy ability and to make it a bit harder in general. This time I'm actually going to change up the stage to be the lava transformation of Castle Siege, which is the closest stage to his boss arena, and it also fits the fire aspects of this ability too. Hammers are once again the only items, and this would be our first legendary or 4-star spirit. Crash was another fairly simple one to come up with. This would be represented by a Kirby that spawns in with the bomber item, since that's where he gets the ability from. The reason I went with Kirby here is because this is the only ability that you will actually lose once you use it. So in other words, after Kirby uses the item, he just becomes normal Kirby. The bomber will be the only item during this fight, meaning there will be plenty of chances to give Kirby this ability again. The stage will be Battlefield Wrecking Crew to represent the buildings bombers can generally be found on. I chose Battlefield specifically as it lets me show off what happens when a bomber walks off a platform. This is our first ability to only have 2 variants instead of at least 3, so I'm making the base form an Advanced Spirit. The time crash will be the exact same as the last battle except with one catch. After a little bit, you'll be slowed down as if you got hit by the timer item. This would make it fairly difficult as it gives Kirby a ton of time to use the bomber. For that reason, this would be an Ace Spirit. Fire is one of the most popular copy abilities, and also just so happens to be one of the few represented on Kirby's moveset, so he'll once again be the character here. Kirby would prefer using dash attack as it's the fire dash from the fire ability. Since fire breath is also an important aspect of this ability though, Kirby will spawn in with the curry item equipped. To match the fire theme, the stage will be Battlefield Norfair with the only items spawning being fire related like the fire bar and fire flower. This would be a novice. Volcano Fire spits its fire out in a much more unique way, having it bounce along the ground. The only really similar thing to this is Ridley's neutral special, so he's going to be the fighter here. The stage and items remain the same, though I am going to add a lava floor in order to raise the difficulty a bit. This would be advanced. Finally, Dragonfire will be represented by a purple Charizard. While the ability visually looks a lot more similar to Ridley, mechanically Charizard is a much better fit. He would prefer using neutral special for the fire breath and his side special to represent the flying fire dash. Besides that, the other conditions carry over from the last fight, making this an Ace Spirit. Cutter is our final ability to be represented on Kirby's moveset, so for one final time, Kirby is our fighter. Okay, I'm lying, Kirby is still used in 2 more battles, but they're both mouthful mode, so hopefully you're not mad at me. Please don't dislike the video, this is all I have. Kirby would spam up special and would also be in his yellow ult to match the yellow color scheme with this ability. Since the cutter is mainly used for throwing though, Kirby will spawn in with the boomerang and that'll also be the only item. The stage will be Dreamland for no reason in particular, and this is a novice. Chakram Cutter is going to be represented by a Mii sword fighter because, little known fact, they can actually use a chakram. It's little known because no one actually uses the character. The stage and items remain the same, making this an Advanced Spirit. Buzzsaw Cutter will be represented by Mega Man, who prefers using neutral special. To match the more mechanical look of this ability, the stage will be Wily's Castle. I couldn't really think of any other good conditions, so this would be an Ace Spirit. Sword is one of the most iconic Kirby abilities, and it's also one of the most obvious with its reference, as the hat is clearly based on Link from the Zelda series. I decided to go with Young Link as normal Link is a bit too big, though Toon Link could definitely work too. He wouldn't use any of his projectiles, but besides that there really aren't any conditions. The stage would be Dreamland and it'd be a novice. The Gigan Sword uses a much stronger and bigger sword, so I think a green Ganondorf fits it best. Ganondorf's forward smash even matches the same motion as the charge attack from this ability. Ganondorf only uses his sword during smash attacks, so he'd prefer using those. Now I wanted to represent the special shield that this ability gets as it's actually able to move while shielding, but the only real item I could think of was the back shield. Yeah, it doesn't work exactly the same as this, but I think it still fits. The stage would be Dreamland once again, and this is an Advanced Spirit. But now we've got the hardest copy ability to make a spirit for in the entire game, the Meta Knight Sword. Can you all guess who I picked? That's right, it's Meta Knight. Since the copy ability is pretty much just Meta Knight, there's really no need for any other conditions. The stage will be Halberd though, since that is of course Meta Knight's stage, and it'd be an Ace Spirit. But Sword happens to be our other copy ability to get 4 stages with the, spoiler again, Morpho Knight Sword. This is probably the single most complicated spirit in this video. First off, he'll be represented by a red Meta Knight due to them looking pretty similar. When using this ability, Kirby can heal by attacking enemies, so I decided to give this spirit the auto heal ability. In order to reference both Morpho Knight's fire and giant sword, Meta Knight will spawn in with the firebar item. Morpho Knight has the ability to teleport, so Meta Knight will use his down special often. This ability also allows Kirby to summon in these 2 floating guys, so I decided to represent them by 2 purple Meta Knights. You would only need to defeat the main Meta Knight to win though. The stage would be Battlefield Norfair, as it's the closest to the boss fight arena, and only fire items will spawn along with there being a lava floor. If it wasn't obvious enough by the sheer amount of conditions in this fight, this is a legendary spirit. Wow, okay, Sword was a long segment. Let's get back to a more standard ability set with the bomb. This will be represented by Toon Link, who spams down special, which, if you didn't know, is a bomb. The stage would be greens because of the bomb blocks, but bombs would be the only item as they're the closest to the standard bomb. This would be a novice. The chain bomb was pretty difficult to come up with, but I decided to go with normal Link as his bombs visually look closer to the chain bombs than the other 2 Links. In order to reference the chain aspect, the Smart Bomb and X Bomb are the only 2 items here as they can easily chain react with each other to explode multiple at once. The stage will also be green, so this is an Advanced Spirit. The homing bomb has its bomb roll along the floor, so I think Roy who spams down special fits this type of bomb best. Once again, the item will also change, this time being the bomb chew as they move along the ground. The stage would be greens, and this is an Ace. Alright, I'll be honest, the Tornado family of abilities were some of my least favorite to make since they don't change that much between upgrades. The default ability will be a white Meta Knight that spams Mock Tornado. The stage would be Dreamland because Wispy blows wind, and this would be a novice. The Floor Tornado would be the exact same, except there would be heavy wind. How exciting. Finally, the Storm Tornado would change things up a little bit. It'd still be Meta Knight that prefers Mock Tornado, though he'll be in his Dark Meta Knight ult this time. He'll also have the Screw Attack equipped to reference the lightning of this ability. The lightning item would also be the only one available. Meta Knight will also be given his Final Smash suddenly since it activates from a lightning bolt. Finally, the stage would be Dreamland with heavy wind, and this would be an ace. The drill was surprisingly easy to come up with, as Bowser Jr. uses one in both his down air and down throw. I made him Morton to better fit the color scheme and also let him spawn in with the drill item. That will also be the only item available during this fight. The stage will be Omega Great Cave Offensive to represent an underground area to dig through, and this is a novice. The pencil drill will be very similar, though instead of Morton it'd be Larry. In order to reference the pencil aspect, I decided to have the Nikki Assist trophy spawn in. Yeah, I know this doesn't work anything like the ability, but pencil. This would be advanced. The twin drill changes the Koopaling once again over to Roy, though he now also focuses on forward smash, as that uses 2 drills. I also gave him increased speed, as this moves a lot quicker than the other 2 drills. While the drill item will remain as one of the only ones available, hotheads will also spawn in order to reference the saw that sticks out of the ground as you dig with it. I also thought it would be fun to let Knuckles spawn in here to reference the digging aspect of this ability. Finally, the stage remains the same, and this is an Ace Spirit. Sleep will be represented by Jigglypuff and the Sleep Pad, since this ult is generally believed to be based on the Kirby copy ability. It'll spam Rest, and the stage will be Omega Magic Hand as it's sort of dreamlike. This will be a novice. The Deep Sleep ability will be mostly the same, though the floor will cause a player to go to sleep, and Jigglypuff will get a random stat boost, as that's what this ability will do once used. The stage will be Battlefield Magic Hand, and it'd be advanced. Alright, I lied about Tornado being my least favorite to make, as the Needle group also sucked to come up with. Doesn't help that this is one of my least favorite copy abilities as well. Sonic will be used to represent Needle as he's spiky, but more importantly, both his down special and side special have him rolling around in a ball just like this ability. The stage will be Green Hill since it's got the slope to roll down, and this would be a novice. The Cluster Needle will be the exact same, except there would be a high amount of items during the fight to represent the cluster. This would be advanced. Finally, the Crystal Needle would be the same, but the only item would be the Unira to reference the projectile needle balls that can spit out. Sonic would also spawn with one, and he'd be using his second ult since he has crystal cuffs there. This would be an Ace Spirit. And our final ability set is the Ice set. Normal Ice will be represented by Ice Climbers that prefer side special, as that matches Kirby's Freeze Breath. I would also make their shield not take any shield damage, to represent how the Ice Shield is the only ability to 100% protect Kirby from damage. The stage would be Omega Summit, and this would be a novice. Frosty Ice would be the same, though Ice Climbers would now also be able to use Neutral Special in order to reference the Snowman. Freezies would also spawn in as the only item, making this advanced. And for our final ability, Blizzard Ice, everything from the last battle is carried over except the floor freezes you, which just adds a little bit of extra difficulty. This would be an ace. And now it's time to move on to our mouthful modes, which were for the most part much harder to come up with than the copy abilities. Luckily, the car was pretty easy. I knew I wanted to represent them using one of the Koopalings, as their side special lets them turn the clown car into an actual car. The question was, which Koopaling? Well, I decided to go with Roy for one simple reason. If you squint, the top of Roy's head kind of looks like Kirby placed on top of the car, just like the mouthful mode. Roy would have increased speed, and the stage would be Figure 8 circuits to reference the numerous racetracks this ability can be used on. This would be an Ace Spirit. The vending machine is where things start to get a lot more difficult. Surprisingly, there's no vending machine character on the roster, so the closest thing I can get to was Steve, as he's also blocky. He would spawn with the Super Scope though in order to reference the ability to fire out sodas. Since these sodas can be eaten after being shot out, food will be the only item available during this fight. This would take place on Tomodachi Life, since that looks like a place that could have a vending machine, and this would be an advanced spirit. For the cone, I wanted a character with a stall and fall, and Corrin's down air fit the pointed cone best, so an orange Corrin will be used here. I also wanted earthquakes to occur during this fight, which would reference the small shockwave this produces when ground pounding. This would be on Omega Green Greens and would be an advanced spirit. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, I literally had no idea what to do for the dome mouth. I just decided to make a Kirby who spams Inhale on Omega Great Bay, so it kinda looks like he's trying to use mouthful mode on the dome in the background. Yeah, I know this one sucks, let's just move on. Oh, it'd be a novice. Stairs mouth, again, literally no clue what to do. I went with Steve since they're both blocky again, and Steve can build staircases. I made the stage be New Donk City Hall, as the background has stuff that kinda looks similar to the mouthful mode. This would be advanced. Storage mouth also sucked, but I came up with something slightly better at least. This would be a K-roll who spams up smash. He's big like the storage, but more importantly, him falling over after his up smash kinda looks like the storage falling over. The stage would be on it, and this would be a novice. Oh, thank God it's a water balloon, something I can actually work with. This would be a big Squirtle that prefers using neutral special. Now I could just end it there, but I thought it'd be neat to make this battle have a poison floor to reference the poison that this ability is used to clean up. The stage would be Omega Mushroomy Kingdom to reference the desert level this can be found in, and it'd be advanced. Lightbulb Mouth is a bit harder, but I decided to go with Pink Palutena as she is the goddess of light. She would prefer using her light moves such as up smash and up air. During the fight, the Nightmare Assist Trophy will spawn to make the stage look dark, since the light bulb is of course used to light up dark areas. This stage would be Luigi's Mansion to also go with the dark setting, these are generally found in. This would be advanced. Ringmouth features our final appearance of Kirby himself for this video, and he'd spawn in big with the Gust Bellow, since this mouthful mode and this item are both used to push wind. Speaking of, there will also be heavy wind during this battle. The stage will be Tortimer's Island, as generally this mouthful mode is used to propel yourself forward while in a boat, and this would be advanced. The scissor mouth lift was a pretty difficult one, so I went with a similar idea that I did for the uproot in my Mario Odyssey Capture Spirit video, since these both let the player stretch upwards. This would be a piranha plant that spams down special, and it'd have increased speed. The stage would be Spirit Tracks because of the rail tracks, and this would be a novice. The arc mouth allows Kirby to glide, so I think Steve fits best here as his up special allows him to glide as well. He'd have increased airspeed, and there would be heavy wind on the stage as well. The stage itself would be Omega Windy Hill Zone because it has wind in the name, and I thought that was funny, making this an advanced spirit. The coaster mouth also gets to be Steve, though this time he would spam Minecart My Beloved. He'd have increased speed, and the stage would be Spirit Tracks, once again because of the rails. This would be advanced. The pipe mouth would be a big Jigglypuff that prefers using rollout, as rolling along the ground is this mouthful mode's whole gimmick. The stage would be Green Hill because of the prominent slope, and this would be advanced. And for our final spirit for this video, we have the biggest mouthful mode of them all, the Big Rig. While it does act similar to the car, there are quite a few differences. While it would still be Roy spamming side special once again, this time Roy would be made bigger to better fit the size of the vehicle. He'll also have increased speed, and his run will deal damage because, fun fact, getting hit by cars hurts. The stage this time would be Omega Lilat, as this fits the setting of the final boss fight in the game, which is of course where this is used. The last thing I wanted to add on here though is that the Moon Assist Trophy will spawn in after some time, which references the meteors that get thrown down towards you during this portion of the game. Due to how deadly Roy is, along with the assist trophy, I think it's more than fair to make this a legendary spirit. But anyways, that's it for this video. Are you all mad I didn't specifically reference the cactus part of the cluster needle ability in its spirit fight? Let me know in the comments. I'm not sure how well this video is going to do, but I really did want to talk about this game again in some way because I do really love it. If you want to see more on this game, then it would mean a lot if you could help this video succeed. But anyways, dry bones for Smash, and I'll see you guys next time.